like to introduce, and it is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Henry Lois Thomas.
Good afternoon. My name is Henry Thomas, and I'd like to thank you guys for being here. I'd like to thank you guys for being here, staying here. I'd like to thank Ms. Whitlow, Ms. Crawford, and all the facilitators of this event for allowing me to come here today and share my story with you. For most of my life, especially entering high school, centered around two things: my academics and my athletics. If you read the brochure, I was California High School State Championship in '83 and '84, 2 consecutive years. Our high school team set the national record in the 4x400 meter relay, 3:07:40, which, if it still stands in April 2020, it would have been 35 years. Quite a phenomenal task. We didn't realize how special it was at the time. Because of this, I was able to matriculate to UCLA, full scholarship. There we won 2 NCAA championships in '87 and 1988. We also set the collegiate record. We was the first collegiate team to run under 3 minutes in the relay. Also had multiple school records. I still hold some California state records too. I was the fastest, and not to gloat, just to give you some background, I was the fastest California high school student athlete in 100 meters. That's still today 10:25. And in the 400 meters, 45:09. I was working towards my goal of being an Olympic champion. In '88, I missed the team. I made the team as an alternate. Subsequent to that, I had some debilitating injuries. I hurt my back, and I was still working towards my goal of earning an Olympic medal in '92. Because of these injuries and stuff that I suffered, I became discouraged, distracted, disgruntled, a little angry with some of the things that was going on with the sport, steroid use, etc. Can you hear me, Ms. Crawford? The steroid use that was happening in the sport. And as a result, I chose to go outside my circle of family and friends and my support system, and fell in with the wrong crowd and ended up in prison, where I served 15 years in prison. This is very negative. I was at my lowest state. I was torn. I was depressed. My initial thoughts of prison was very negative. I didn't see a future, and I didn't see no reason to look forward towards my future. I was in a bad state, if you can imagine. Here I was, as an athlete, track and field was taking me all around the world. And now I end up in prison instead of doing what I want to do, doing what people in charge told me to do. But in 1993, I kind of had like an epiphany in the penitentiary. I was there for about 3 years, and I knew if I held on to this negative thought, this negative mindset, that I just knew I wouldn't make it out the penitentiary. And this motivated me to change my thought process, to try to turn this negative situation into something positive. And it wasn't until I took steps towards the thought of good or to God, or this thought that all things work together for good for those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose, that things started to turn around for me. I had a cellie at that time. Around the same time, shortly after, something grabbed me and just told me I need to change my mentality. He suggested that I write one of our program captains, our program administrators, and that was Ms. Crawford. And so upon his advice, that's what I did. I didn't know if she would respond. But I remember sitting there in the cell that night writing her a letter, explaining to her my situation, where I was, how disenchanted I was. And I put it in the mail. About a week later, my cell door opened. She calls me to her office. And we talked, and she said she got my letter. And she took an interest in me. And she also said that she's going to help me. But if I let her down, if I cross her, if I don't do what I said I was going to do, that basically my butt was hers. And y'all see Miss Crawford today as this nice, humble, seriously, this nice, humble lady, which she is. But let me tell you, she was, and still is, very, very tough. And how she dealt with us and all inmates. I'm talking about she was really able to control and command respect, seriously, out of pretty much the worst of the worst. And when she dealt with them and she dealt with us, we respected her. We pulled up our pants and respected her, and we listened. And I just say that how I was moving towards this thought of good and trying to pick myself up off the floor, up off the gutter, stop having these feelings of self-doubt, where things started to happen for me. So that was in 1993. After that, I got involved in a trade, what was helpful, because at that time my custody was reduced. They reduced my custody level because of her. Because prior to that, I was pretty much locked up in the cell 24 hours a day, outside of yard time, because I had a high custody status. So I took advantage of that. And I wanted to take advantage of other programs throughout the institution, now that my custody level was dropped. In 1994, me and my wife got married. And Ms. Donna, I tell you, that's a hell of a testimony right there. But I was just saying that I was trying to change my negative thoughts to something positive. And as a result, I was able to take care of some educational programs in the institution. In '94, I got married. In 1995, our daughter was born. Our daughter has since graduated from Brigham Young University. She's 24 years old now. And we've been married 25 years. So this thought, all things work together for good for those that love the Lord. God is always calling us. And it wasn't athletics, it wasn't the records. God is always calling us to use our life to be an example for and towards somebody else. Because we may be in situations where we can't help ourselves, but we can help somebody else along their way. About 3 years ago, I was in an accident. And I just bring this up just to say that, you wonder what your purpose is in life, what you should be doing. I almost died. I was on a motorcycle and got cut off on the freeway in Southern California. And I remember sliding across the freeway and being tossed and turned, but conscious at the same time. I don't know if that was an evil spirit that had me, or once I kicked hold of my legs that he had, dragged me across the freeway, and I had road rash, everything, fractured my neck in 3 places, and I woke up, and some just told me what my time. And we always wonder what our purpose is in life, and I just say that to say that this allows me the opportunity. I think this is part of my purpose, a part of my destiny, to come here and share, in hopes that it can help somebody else along that way. Now, working with this thought of good, and '95 was my first parole hearing. Of course, I got denied. In prison, understand this, I wish there was more young people in here. But, you know, we kind of glorify, glamorize prisons through the movies, etc. Prison is a bad place. And I was in the penitentiary. Everybody had life 20 or 30 years. I remember my first time walking in the institution, out the institutional yard, once I hit the prison penitentiary and was able to interact with other inmates. A guy walked through a group of men's exercise, and they stabbed me, and that's how serious it was. I knew a guy that stayed on a chair with me, white guy, and he hung himself. And he told his cellie that he was gonna hang himself. So at yard time, his cellie, he basically told him, "You're gonna hang yourself, but you know, you wanna kill yourself, go ahead and kill yourself." He come back out the yard and this dude hanging from his vent, dead in the cell. So this is just the overwhelming negativity that's in an institution or in a prison. And it's hard if you stay in a negative frame of mind to even cope, to even deal with a situation like that. I could have went crazy. I could have turned to drugs. Or I could have stabbed somebody and remained in prison. But were it for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here today. I said if it wasn't for the grace of God, I wouldn't be here today. And really, I don't like to really get up and talk in front of people. Not that I won't, and I do when I'm given opportunity to, because I'm not a person that's seeking the limelight. Because I was asked, I thought it was important, and I think that God is pushing me to do these things is why I'm here today. Continuing on to this thought of good, all things work together for good. While in the institution, we were able to establish an African American History Committee, which is pretty much unheard of throughout these institutions in California. We're walking with this thought of good and having people initially that was there, like Miss Crawford. God will put people in your way that's going to help make a way. So we would put on programs like Juneteenth programs, Black History programs. And then subsequent to that, we were able to establish a multicultural committee where we had all of us together, Blacks, Latinos, which helped kick down a lot of violence in the institution. And the Hispanics or the Latins were able to establish them a Mexican cultural committee where they would put on a Cinco de Mayo program and stuff like that, and we would support each other's various programs. Just this thought of good, those just trying to do good. God will put people in your path to do good. If you're not cold, callous, and your heart is open enough to receive it. I don't know if these programs still exist today where I was at, but it was very, I think, productive while we were there. Because of these committees, and you guys probably never heard it, we had Harry Belafonte and Danny Glover. We had Harry Belafonte and Danny Glover come to the institution. And it was a beautiful thing because we hear a lot of negative things, but we don't hear about the positive things. And they was there supporting us and wasn't there for anything else but to give back. And that inspired us. Like I said, you take one step to God, he'll take, 20 steps towards you. And that was amazing. I think it's on part of his documentary, one of us singing a song or something like that. This documentary, I think is, if you research it, I think you can find us in the institution, him on the chair, singing. So, I just want to say that, regardless of, what surrounds you, regardless of what state we find ourselves in, that, it's always, God's gonna always make a right choice to be made and gonna put people in your life. And that if we can change our mindset, regardless of what you've been through, if you can change your mindset, then we can change our situation. And that's the truth. What I'm telling you is real. I'm not an over religious person like that. I don't go to church, but I know what God can do. And I know about having a personal relationship with God. And I know that God will get your attention one way or the other. And if you listen, he can pull you out of any situation, of any circumstances, and return your life to you better than it was. I have a beautiful wife. We've been together over 30-some years. We've been married for 25 years. We have one beautiful daughter who's graduated from college, and she's still in Utah, in Provo, Utah, working, trying to figure out if she's going to go to graduate school. I've worked constantly and consistently since I've been home because I was committed to doing that. I'm just thankful that I wasn't a recidivist, that I wasn't one of those 75% of people being released from prison, returning with a new charge, or violating parole. But that's because I was committed to doing the right thing and moving in the right direction. I'm a homeowner. We bought a home about 10 years ago. And, be careful what you wish for, because I told God that once I got out, if I got out, well, I told him when I got out because I believed I would get out, that, I'm a work and support my family. I'm a work and support my family. And she'll tell you that's all I do is work. And if it's work, I go to work sick. I'm not, unless it's a real important event, I'm not taking off work. I took off work 4 hours yesterday to get up here to Sacramento. I'm a supervisor. I have certain responsibilities at work. And because I'm committed to doing the right thing, a lot of us had this stigmatism or this stereotype that, people not gonna help you. Or, just because you've been to prison, that's the end, and it's not. If you change your mindset, and I'm a living example of that. It's hard, it's not gonna be easy. I had several jobs, but the job that I've been on for about 12 years now. And it's taken some leadership roles, just because they know that I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm committed to doing the right thing, and I'm gonna be early, because early is on time, and on time is late. So that's just some of my story. I know I kind of went over here and over there with some things, but to be honest, it's just, it's difficult reliving it. It's difficult, sharing it, but it's therapeutic for me at the same time because I'm able to talk about it. We talked about the hanging situation the other day, and I didn't share that with her till, a few days ago, right? About the dude that I know was sad that lost his life, hung himself, took his life. But that's just a tip of how, bad prison can be. But at the same time, it was a good thing for me because ain't no telling what was out there in front of me that could have happened to me had I stayed in that depressed state, that angry state. It could have been a good thing, I think.
Mr. Thomas.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Who are you now?
Well, I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a God-fearing man. I'm a man that's committed to doing the right thing, regardless of the situation, the circumstances, or to the extent of great odds. I'm a hard worker. I'm empathetic. Prison makes you empathetic because in a penitentiary, you see everything. I'm a person that try not to have no predisposition towards things because I done seen basically everything. I done seen some bad things. I've seen and talked to people who do bad things. I'm a mentor. I work with gangs. I supervise young men at the church. I'm a lot of things, but a recidivist I'm not.
I'm going to stay up here with him just for a second. Because, he shared a lot of beneficial information with you. And I kept in touch with this young man. He was 22 years old when I first met him. Okay, and he's 50, how? 52. He's 52 years old right now. And when he got off that bus, and I saw him that day, he got my attention then. And fortunately, another inmate who decided to befriend him told him to get in touch with me. And I sure did tell him I don't take no mess. Okay? And he knew exactly what he needed to do. And I tell you what, I've had a lot of success stories in 30 years working 8 penitentiaries, but this man right here probably was the best and most successful story because he carried his life on. I don't take credit for that. He gave the credit to God, and that's where it came from. That's where it came from. He has a wonderful family. We stay in touch. But last thing I'm going to ask him is, what single biggest thing did you learn from that experience? And how did that make you who you are today?
One of the biggest things I learned that when you're going through something, seek consultation. Talk to people. Somebody might be able to relate. We, especially as men, we come up in a society where we shouldn't cry, we shouldn't talk about our problems, the things that we're going through. So I held a lot of stuff in. So today, I seek consultation. I talk about things that I'm going through. And that's one of the biggest things I thought, because I think that's the catalyst that starts a downward spin when we don't share, when we don't just be honest. And it may be uncomfortable. I mean, it is uncomfortable, but I think the benefits that we receive pale in comparison to the discomfort that we feel. Because everybody going through something, regardless of what it is. Somebody, you see somebody and say, oh, everything is fine. Come on, knock it off. So I think, Ms. Crawford, that's one of the things, or the biggest things I learned, to open up and talk about issues that I may be having. And I just want to say, 30 years, it's unusual. A lot of people utter stuff with their mouths that's not in their heart. When she tell you something that's the truth, is real, you can count on it. And that helped change me, because had it not been for her and God putting her in my life, I could still be in the penitentiary. Either just still there doing time. I could have just stabbed somebody. Just a lot of things. And I went through, because of her guidance and changing my mind, and God putting people like Ms. Crawford in my life and other people, disciplinary free. I mean, that's unbelievable.
That's right.
That's unbelievable.
Disciplinary free.
It's unbelievable. So